who sought to own territories in order to negotiate power. And so we were divided against ourselves, helped by powerful institutions and people, and we as the ordinary citizens are not thinking enough to decide that this is what we want. Change in a nation is either it comes from top to bottom or it comes from bottom up. But when we're busy fighting ourselves, talking about this foolish Igbo man, this stupid Hausa man, this when we recognize that we are all Nigerians, one passport, there is no Yoruba passport, there is no Igbo passport, there is no Hausa passport. Nobody recognizes your tribe outside of Nigeria. So if you want to play in a global space, but also be local in terms of our development, we must understand that the fields that we have, the identity that we must nurture, that we must invest in, is our national identity, which is Nigeria. And to do that, we can go back if we want to rebuild everything that we have destroyed. Go back to education from primary school. Entrench in our children, not just by them reciting the national anthem, which we undo by the things we say to them, because every child is nurtured at home and at school. If you go to school and they teach you one thing, and you go home and your parents tell you how that Yoruba next door is the enemy, how the Igbo person that lives upstairs is your enemy, how we undo the minds of our people to work together as a youth. Allow the politics of division to separate us, and we foolishly destroy the opportunities that we should have as a people. Who is your neighbor? The other Nigerian, my next door neighbor. When you are sick, you're looking for a doctor to help your very sick body. Do you ask for the tribe of the doctor before you get treated? When you have a problem and you're looking for help, do you say that except I find somebody from my village, I cannot receive help from wherever I find it? Is the armed robber looking for people from his village or from another village? Why do we go into the things that are important and we go tribal? Because we might have leaders who themselves have not been responsible in terms of setting a roadmap, executing it, and staying true to building a nation. Like one of my co-speakers said, I served in Kano. Our camp was in Gumel. It was literally at the border of Niger. We were from everywhere. It was a joy to meet people from every other place other than the Southwest where I was born and had always schooled. It was great when I was in university to go on the train that had taken Unilag people from Lagos, stopped in Ibadan to pick University of Ibadan students, stopped in Osogbo for those of us coming from University of Ife to join the train, stopped in Ilori, pick Ilori students, took all of us to Zara to go for Nga Games at Ahmadu Bello University. We were one. Nobody thought you're Southerner. University is a mixing pot. We came from everywhere, including those that came from outside Nigeria to our university, because we did have great institutions. But except we make a conscious decision, and if we say the elites have not made the right decision on our behalf, how many the elites as compared to citizens? When do we make a right-thinking, conscious decision that we do not apply in the way of finding tribal leaders that will call for war? Because who benefits from it? There There is an economy of war, in case some people do not understand that. There are people who economically look forward to creating confusion within nations because they stand to benefit economically for decades. And fertile ground for that possibility because we're divided by our tribes. And all people need to do is to turn us against one another. Who will die in the war? We, our children, our cousins, our brothers, our uncles, our neighbors. What land will be destroyed? Our land. We must make a decision. And in making that decision, each individual Nigerian must own it. Government can set a policy, but the people must want that policy to work. Government must set a roadmap. We must find the right thinking leaders who can set the right roadmap for us and guide us in the way that we should go. But we as a people must decide where we want to go by our own actions, by our words, by our investments, by the things that we do. And going back again, it starts with education. Having the right kind of education that allows our children to see that they belong to a nation. Teaching our children to love their country. And we as a people, understanding, even if it's for enlightened self-interest, to understand that we stand to benefit more when Nigeria works. We stand to benefit more when we work together as one. I want my son, if he wants a job, and the job he loves the most because of his area of interest is in Kaduna, I don't want to have to think about him going to Kaduna. I want to say, oh, that's good. Enjoy your trip, enjoy your career there, and come back whenever. I want my son to be able to get an opportunity in Oka, in Abia, in anywhere in the southeast or south-south, and for me not to have to worry. Because no, don't go to that region. When did we become that? Go back to the kind of leadership we choose, to the kind of people that we celebrate, to kind of things that we allow and permit and we add our voice to. And understand that we need to build equitable leadership that we can trust. And in doing that, as a nation and as a people, we must learn to think. It must be important that critical thinking is added to our educational curriculum, so that when people offer us things or say things to us, we can think through it objectively and be able to reach the right kind of conclusion. So that a politician does not take advantage of having a microphone to make noise with lies and convince us to sign up for an undefined contract or a contract that will never be fulfilled. And we already know that. That we will not be controlled by temporary satisfaction with stomach infrastructure, but that we will begin to develop a longer term vision, even as we consider the short and the medium term. And that we must understand that great nations are not built without sacrifice. That we will have to make some sacrifices. I know that we're at a place in our nation where people feel you must be an idiot if you want to be involved in any sort of sacrifice for this nation. Then we're in a vicious cycle. We will never get out of it. If we do not choose to draw a line in the sand and say to ourselves, this is the line. From this moment on, we must stand together, fight for our nation. We must fight the voices that seek to divide us and makes it impossible for us to be a cohesive nation. And in doing that, they also make it difficult and impossible for us to have the right kind of leadership, because they use all of that to continue to perpetuate themselves in position and in power. And it is not just political power. There's political power, there's economic power that is all driven based on personal interest, but does not allow a vision and a direction and a leadership from the elites that is in line with national development and national growth. But we are the people. We as a people have the right to ask the right questions. So we must teach children to think so they can ask the right questions. We must teach them the unity that we need, without which it is impossible for us. Look, your biggest example right now is, look at, you can see how division can just tear a country apart. Look at America, a nation that you will never think could go through what they went through in the Trump years. Look at the sheer numbers of people that are thinking wrong. And with the way they're thinking and the toxic words that they're spewing, they are seeking to undo a nation that has been built for hundreds of years, certain principles and values. The divisions within them has been exacerbated in a way that it can destroy their country and the principle democracy that they are agitating for the rest of the world. Now imagine us, for how long we have allowed this division that has not allowed us to choose the best hands for the right job, but to say, oh, it's my brother that should be there. Even if brother is the president, if he comes from your village, doesn't mean you benefit. It depends on who he is, the kind of person that he is. Does he care about his neighbor for him to even care about you? Because if he doesn't care about his neighbor, he doesn't care about other people, and he took power that has responsibility, but does not feel a sense of accountability for the power, he will still not care about you. So it's not about that. It's about us investing in together as the people, united what we want for our nation, and then using that to find the right kind of leadership, or to encourage the right kind of leadership, to support the right kind of leadership where we have it, to build a better society, to stand and ask the right questions, to challenge institutions, to challenge opinions that do not work in our interest as a nation, to seek to find the best talents from every single tribe. I don't care where they come from. I just care that they're Nigerian, and that they want what is best for me, for you, and for every other Nigerian. That they want Nigeria to work in the interest of every single citizen. That is our equity. That they want there to be a justice system that we can rely on. Because I should not be afraid to take a matter to court and know that I will get justice, and that I will not have to think that justice can be bought by another. That I should not be afraid to challenge powers, knowing fully well that they do not serve truth and justice or the benefit of the nation. But having a system where justice is not a lie, where rule of law does not work, people will feel cheated. Citizens will feel like they have no voice, they have no place to go to. And that draws people to harms, an emotional drive that can lead to conflict. That makes it easier for people to identify with anybody that pretends to have their interest at heart, never minding that that person might just be serving his or her own interest and not the national interest or the interest of the individual. Why people lead you to war, and the guys who lead you to war never go to war front. They send other people's children, other people's husbands, other people's wives. They stay in a safe place and act like the commander. In the wars of old, the king leads the war. He leads his people to war. I'm Christian, you read the Bible, you see how many times wars were led by kings themselves. What do we want as a people? That is a question we must answer. What do we want? You know, until we answer that question for ourselves, and we share that information with our children, and we set up an educational system that empowers our children to think through and apply all of that to use our best talent to create an economic system that allows each individual citizen to thrive. at every level. We will all not be players at the same level, but we must all be able to eat and to have a roof over our head. What does every Nigerian say? If you are a parent, you want your children to be taken care of. You want them to have a good education. You want, when you have a sick child, to have a decent hospital to take the child to. You want to come from Akure to Lagos without being afraid that a journey that should take you 3 hours will take you 7 or 8 hours, and you might likely be kidnapped or killed on the way. You decide you want to. When I was young, my father used to take us on what we call know your country trips. My mother is Cameroonian, and if he wants to take us to Cameroon, he would insist that we will go by road. We would go in a Land Cruiser or a Nissan Patrol so that we have room to move around. And he would drive us, he would draw a map across Nigeria to show us different parts of Nigeria. We'll go from Lagos, go through Ore, understand what Ore represents, go to Benin, take us to see some things in Benin, understand what it is, go to Warri. He had a friend who was working in Shell. We will go to Warri and see that family, spend the night or so with them, understand the culture of the area, drive us through to Asaba, cross into the east across the Niger. That's how we went through River Niger, and take us from there across to Calabar, on into Cameroon. When we're coming back, we'll follow other routes so that we can learn and see more of our nation. My siblings all went to universities across Nigeria. We were diverse. 2 of us went to Ife. Somebody went to Benin. Somebody went to Ibadan. Somebody went to Jos. Nobody thought about those issues. If the best university for what I want to study is in Maiduguri, I shouldn't even think about it. This is my country. The centers of excellence for the things we seek can be in any part of Nigeria. The gifts and the talents of our different tribes are different. When we're consumed with war amongst one another, we're fighting, we're making it impossible for us to have, becomes difficult for us to focus on the things that we should, instead of fighting ourselves. All Amina was talking about is to draw attention back to what's key, what is important. While we're allowing division rather than cohesion, smaller nations than us are moving forward in a united front. A house divided against itself, it cannot stand. It will be cheated. It will not have the right leaders. It will not use the best of its talents in order to serve its purpose. That's the question that she's asking in many different ways. How can you leave the women out? They're 50% of the population. They're brilliant, they're smart, they're energetic, they've been educated, they've always been part of the development of our nation. They have women leaders from generations. Is it Queen Amina that you want to talk about? Women who sat on the throne instead of their fathers in many different ways. Women who have been leaders in our communities and have been part of it. Or how can we even have this conversation at all without talking about young Nigerians? 69% of our population is under 40. The energy, the strength of the youth that we have. Many nations are looking for how to have a young population because of the productive capacity of that population. We have decided by our actions or inactions not to drop the energy and strength and the knowledge and the passion of our youthful population for our benefit. What do we want? That is my question. We must make those clear decisions. We must choose the right leaders to drive them. We must learn to trust and not allow people with ulterior motive to use a megaphone to confuse us and to sell lies and deceit into our polity, and we end up cheating ourselves. Two poor people, whether you're that are Igbo and Hausa or Yoruba and Igbo, who live next to each other, they both poor together. Why should they fight a tribal fight? Are they stupid? The people who have caused the fight between them, they never fight. These politicians fight themselves. They fight in your view, but they go back behind to be friends. It's why it's easy to cross the line and they don't think about it. Because there's no ideology that anybody is submitted to. Question. Ask the right questions. But more than that, stick the right things for our nation. Own your part of it. Encourage your neighbor to join you. Work together as a team. And let's build the nation that we deserve. And that, I believe, is what Mrs. Folorunso Alakija is seeking to use a landmark event in her life to challenge us as a nation to do. It doesn't matter how much individuals amongst us have, which is her message. If we're all not at rest or at peace, nobody can go to sleep. It doesn't matter how big your house is or how high your fence is. If your neighbor is hungry and mad, you cannot be safe. Won't you come out of that gate? During the COVID lockdown, I live in Lekki. Lekki became a dangerous place. Why? Because there are many communities around us where there are people who make their income to eat day by day. And because of the lockdown, they were disenfranchised. They didn't know how to eat and all of that. And they were getting desperate. And then all of a sudden, there was agitation. They were going to start attacking cars and attacking homes because they were looking for what to eat. You can't find them. We have to organize community as individuals led it for all of us to donate money for people to be fed every day. If we don't take care of the least of us, the best of us will not survive. That is our social message. That is what all the SDGs represent. Education for every child, healthcare that can attend to every single Nigerian, no matter who they are or what their bank balance is. A system that creates opportunity for everybody to find themselves within the level of our economic ladder. A leadership that has a sense of responsibility and has a commitment to justice and equity, and that has fairness and truth at the center of it. And a system that allows the best of Nigerians to serve Nigeria. And not for whatever reason, to allow the worst amongst us to rule the best of us. Thank you very much for inviting me. And once again, I wish a big sister, a committed Nigerian, a great entrepreneur, and the first Nigerian female chancellor, which in itself is a shame. In a country of 50% women, one female chancellor of how many universities do we have? And it took a state who recognized the value of a woman, and this woman in particular, to make it happen. Where is the equity in that? Where is the justice? Except all voices are at the table, we will have a one-sided view rather than a complete view of our nation, of the talents that we all have. Women see things differently from men. Young people have insights that some of us, by age and exposure, have missed. We need all the voices together for the interest of our nation. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, for that very brilliant contribution to our discussion. We will quickly take 2 or 3 questions from members of the audience with the kind permission of the chairman and the vice chancellor. But if the vice chancellor will further permit me, I want to take questions from only men, because women have been overrepresented, but you won't permit me. Permitted? No, we won't be safe. So we want people, just 1 or 2 minute comments, questions on what we have been discussing so far, on peace, social cohesion, economic empowerment, progress and development, the achievement of the SDGs. So, Professor Oyawoye, you can come and ask your question.
Good afternoon and well done, everybody. My question is the same question I asked on the floor in America, Dallas. We are America, Asian we're having a meeting, technology meeting. I was there, and I asked a question, and I left my address. I've not received an answer till date. The question is not to the participant or discussant, it's to you, to Nigerians. How many of you had an input into your birth? How many of you wrote a letter to your parents? Oh, that I want my daddy, Ogen, or Labokopola to be my father before you were born. I need a sample of your request from God. How many of you wrote to God, I really like to be from OSUN, I want to be an American, or I like to be a white lady or a black girl? I want your answer. If you have an answer to that, you contact me that, oh, I was there, and I wrote that I want to come from the royal family that I am from, or I wrote to be an Igbo lady, or I wrote to be a Yoruba girl, or I wrote to be an Hausa man. I need sample of your application to the Almighty God, when it happened, where you were, how you chose your parents, how you chose your tribe, and how you chose your nation. If you have answers to that, write me or send the answers. I'm a teacher. I like to mark your script. Write it to Professor Popola. He will send them to me. And if you don't have an answer to that, then never should you look at any other person from another tribe who equally had no opportunity to choose his parents, who did not want to be the the daughter of a mad woman, or the child of a poor person. Never again shall you say stupid to any tribe. Thank you.
That is very good. The professor has answered her own question. So a round of applause for her again. So we need two more comments from members of the audience. Who is yes, our librarian. I saw you. Oh, yes, Kabi Esimo, definitely.
I want to say good afternoon to everybody here. If I guess right, I should believe that many of us here are Yorubas, isn't it? If there's anybody in this hall who is not a Yoruba person, please signify, because I want to speak our mother tongue. Going, gone. Yes. Yes, the Vice Chancellor is just informing me that some people will not understand Yoruba language. But I'm not so vast in the English language. So please pardon me, those of you that cannot catch up with the Yoruba language. Moki yawa tí wọ́n jẹ́ bàbá àsàlẹ̀ àbí ká pè ní ìyá àsàlẹ̀ fún ilé ìwé yìí. Ọ̀nà ni arábìnrin ọ̀mọ̀wé Folorunso Alakija tí wọ́n kú oríire, wọ́n kú iṣẹ́, wọ́n kú ọdún, wọ́n kú yèdún, àṣẹ ìṣàmọ́dún, àṣẹ ìṣọ̀pọ̀ ẹ̀. Lágbára Ọlọ́run, ìyá náà gbó, wọ́n á tọ́, wọ́n á fọwọ́ pawó, wọ́n á fẹ́rìgì jòbì. Àwọn àgbàlagbà wọ́n ní pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́ báyìí lówó ṣarọ́, àtẹ̀pẹ́ báyìí lẹ́sẹ̀ tẹ̀ náà. Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kí ìyá ìgbó kó tọ́, bó bá ṣe ń pẹ́ sí i bí orógbó lọ́lọ́run á ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀. Borógbó bá ṣe ń pẹ́ sí, orógbó máa ń dá sí. Ọlọ́run ní sọ̀rọ̀ ìyá ibi ọ̀rọ̀ òbí bàjẹ́ ni. Ìyá náà ò ní bàjẹ́, kò ní ṣáláwọ̀, kò ní sá ní ọpọlọ. Ọlọ́run á ṣe ní àgbà òpìtàn. Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kó kú ní kékeré. Ó ṣe ẹ̀dá ayé ni. Bó tiẹ̀ wo àwòrán ìyá náà, ṣe ló dàbí ọmọ 40 ọdún. Tó fi hàn wá wípé síwájú sí yóò tún pẹ́ láyé sí lágbára Ọlọ́run. Gbogbo nǹkan tí mo sọ yìí, tá a bá sọ lóyìnbó, bó ni ó ṣe rí? Ẹ ṣeun. Ó kí gbogbo àwọn tó ti sọ̀rọ̀. Àná gbọ́dí ẹnu tí wọ́n wí. Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ lórí déédéé ṣíṣe. Wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ lórí báwo la ṣe ṣe tí àwùjọ wa tí ó fi jẹ́lẹ̀ tí ó fún gbogbo wa ní ìgbàláyè. Báwo la àwùjọ wa ó ṣe gbìyànjú láti tún wa ṣe, láti ṣe déédéé, láti ṣẹ̀tọ́. Báwo la ṣe wà láwùjọ tó fi jẹ́ wípé nǹkan tó bá wù wá tí ó jẹ́ kí lọ síwájú ó bá gbèsè ayé wa kò ní nílò bó láti wá. Ta ló bí wa? Ẹ̀sìn wo là ń ṣe? Ẹ̀yà wo la ti wá? Irú àwùjọ wo ni a ní lórílẹ̀-èdè wa tó jẹ́ Nàìjíríà? Ǹjẹ́ bó ṣe rí lánàá ni? Bó ṣe wá rí lélì, báwo ni ó ṣe rí lọ́la? Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ẹ̀tọ́ obìnrin pé àbí ká tiẹ̀ kó gún ìjánu ẹṣin wa ká gbé lóbìnrin lọ́wọ́. Káyọ̀kú máa wò kó máa wà lọ kọ́lọ̀ jẹ́ kó wà wá débi ó dáa. Ṣùgbọ́n ǹjẹ́ obìnrin ló dáa láti ṣàdarí? Ǹjẹ́ ọkùnrin ló dáa láti ṣàdarí? Ta lẹni náà tó dáa láti ṣàdarí? Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni adarí ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú ibo ni ọkọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí ń lọ. Torí pé tá a bá ní ká wò ó pé bó bá tẹ kẹ́nìkan sá ti wà náà ni, tó bá wà tó bá lọ wà tó bá tẹrí ọkọ̀ kọnú gbóńkọ́ tàbí kódò, bó ni gbogbo wa wà. Lánàá téèyàn bá jáde léèwé, báwọn ọmọ mi ṣe wà ń bí, wọ́n ti máa dúró dè wọ́n, oríṣiríṣi ẹ̀ ó sì ti máa dúró dè wọ́n kí wọ́n tó jáde. Wọ́n ṣe wà níléèwé, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn ìdààmú ọkàn, kí ni màá jẹ, kí là á jẹ lọ́sàn yìí, kí là á jẹ lálẹ́, ìbẹ̀ fẹ́ lómi nù wọn báyìí. Síbẹ̀síbẹ̀ láyé ìgbà kan, àwọn kan tí wọ́n kàwé ńgbà náà, owó pẹ́pẹ́pẹ́ ni wọ́n fi ń jẹun. Kódà àwọn ọmọléèwé máa tún gbowó oṣù, wọ́n ń pè ní student bursary. Kódà àwọn atúmọ̀ yá wọn lówó, ẹlòmíì tó bá fẹ́ yáwó, oúnjẹ, owó táṣọ́rẹ́ tí ò tó nǹkan lẹ́ẹ̀ fi jẹun. Kódà bá dọjọ́ Sunday bí ọba lọmọléèwé máa jẹun. Ṣùgbọ́n ìgbà náà ti kọjá. Táwọn ọmọ wọn bá wá ń bínú, tí wọ́n ń ṣèṣekúṣe, tí wọ́n yẹ̀yàkuyà nísìn, àwọn ọmọ wádìí pé kí ló fà á? Àwùjọ ló fà á. Head of service ti sọ tán nínú àgbékalẹ̀ rẹ̀ wípé àwùjọ káwùjọ ó lè bàyàn jẹ́, tó bá bẹ ń tọ̀ ń jẹ́ tó ń tọ̀ náà tó wá bá àwùjọ jẹ́. Ìyá wa Folorunso Alakija ó ṣe dáadáa, òun ló jẹ́ káwa wá. Ó ń lo ìgbésí ayé rẹ̀ ní ọ̀nà tí yóò mú ìdẹ̀kùn bá àwùjọ. Ǹjẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ lórí káàkiri? Àwọn olówó wa tí wọ́n lówó díẹ̀, bọ́nà ti ń lo owó wọn, bọ́nà kó wọn sí, kí náà fi ń ṣe? Jẹ́ wọ́n fi dá lé iṣẹ́ lẹ̀? Ǹjẹ́ pátá máa dá a lẹ̀? Jẹ́ ìṣe àwọn náà ni ó kó àwọn ọmọ wọn síbẹ̀. Ǹjẹ́ a lè kọ̀wé báyìí pé àwọn wáṣẹ́ kárí iṣẹ́ láì mọ̀yàn? láì jẹ́ pé à ń ṣe ń lọ́bì káàkiri. Àwọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí làtúnṣe tó yẹ ká ṣe, ṣùgbọ́n gbogbo ẹ̀ dá lérí adarí, gbogbo wa sì ládarí. Adarí lọ́ba, adarí ni àwọn ìjọba tá a gbé ìkúdà ìjọba tiwa tẹ́ gbà lọ́wọ́ wa tá gbé lọ́wọ́, báwo náà ṣe ń lò. Adarí lọ̀gá iléèwé, báwo náà ṣe ń lò. Adarí lẹ́nì kọ̀ọ̀kan wa tó jó lórí ẹ̀ka kọ̀ọ̀kan, báwo la ṣe ń lò. Ǹjẹ́ à ń ṣe déédéé? Ǹjẹ́ à ń ṣe dáadáa? Ǹjẹ́ à ń mójútó ìlú? Ǹjẹ́ à ń mójútó àdúgbò? Ǹjẹ́ à ń mójútó ààyè tọ́lọ́run fi wá sí láti lè já àǹfààní fún ẹnikẹ́ni, láì wo tẹ̀yà, láì wo tẹ̀sìn, láì wo tìbí tó ti wá? Àwọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí ni ẹ jẹ́ ká mú lọlé, ká lọ ṣàtúnṣe sígbésí ayé wa. Aláwọn wá ààbò, kò lè sí ààbò láì sóúnjẹ nínú. Tó lóyìnbó ń pè ní food security. Ààbò oúnjẹ gbọ́dọ̀ kọ́kọ́ wà. Àwọn oúnjẹ olóyìnbó tá ń jẹ, ìrẹsì àwa ìjẹ nígbà táwa wà ń kékèké, ọjọ́ kérésì àtọjọ́ independence kan là á máa jẹ. Bọ́ọ̀ ló ṣe dóúnjẹ wa. Kí là ń jẹ ńgbà náà tá a jẹ mọ́? Ìgbésí ayé wo là ń gbé ńgbà náà tá a gbé mọ́? Irú aṣọ wo là ń wọ̀ ńgbà náà tá a wọ̀ mọ́? Ìgbésí ayé àwùjọ wo là ń gbé ńgbà náà? Báwo la ṣe ṣe bí wa tá a ṣe mọ́? Gbogbo àwọn nǹkan wọ̀nyí lè jẹ́ àmúlọlé ká lọ ṣàtúnṣe. Àwọn tó wọ́n wá tí ò gbọ́n tí mò ń sọ, àwọn tó bá gbọ́ ẹ máa ṣàlàyé fún wọn. Ẹ jẹ́ á tún àwùjọ wa ṣe kí àwùjọ wa kó lè dáa jù báyìí lọ. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí, arábìnrin Folorunso Alakija, ọmọ ọjọ́ òbí, gígùn ẹ̀mí àlàáfíà ara, Ọlọ́run á fi ta yín lọ́rẹ o. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé kò sí ń bí nípa ti ara, ṣùgbọ́n wà ń bí nípa ti ẹ̀mí. Ìyá náà ṣe dáadáa, ó ṣe takuntakun fún ìlọsíwájú iléèwé, ó ṣe takuntakun fún ìlọsíwájú àwùjọ, ó ti ṣọmọnìyàn lóore tó pọ̀. Àdúrà mi ni wípé ọdọọdún báyìí láàárọ̀ gbó, ọdọọdún láàárọ̀ àwùsá, ọdọọdún láàárọ̀ mọ́bì lórí àtẹ. Níwé àmọ́dún àtúnjọ ṣe ni. Ó lékún lówó, ó lékún ní àlàáfíà, ìfẹ̀yàbalẹ̀, àìkú baálẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀, Ọlọ́run á fi fún yín o. A rí bẹ́ẹ̀, àṣẹ bẹ́ẹ̀ o.
Thank you very much, Kabiesi. So, Mama, the celebrant, will now be joining us. And after that, the Chairman of Council, and then the Honorable Commissioner.
Say hallelujah. It's an honor and it's a privilege to be here today. I'd like to thank the Almighty God, first and foremost, who has spared my life to this day and given me the opportunity to be able to come before all of you in celebration of this 70th birthday. Because had it not been for him, I would certainly have been consumed and we wouldn't be gathered here today, whether physically or virtually. I'd like to thank the governor of the state of OSUN, Governor Boyega Oyetola, who recently reappointed me as the Chancellor of University of OSUN. I thank the chairman and members of the governing council of the university, who were obviously in support of the recommendation and who have given me every support in my first tenure as chancellor, and give me the opportunity to be able to play that role as best I could, with the support of my husband and my family members as I continued to go along. And here we are at the start of that second tenure. I thank each and every one of you who have gathered here today to be a part of this celebration. Those who have been invited to speak, starting off with the keynote speaker, Mrs. Alakija Amina Mohammed, and all that she has said and charged this lecture with. And I believe that justice has really been done and served as I listened from start to this point during this lecture. Wow, I'm thrilled. I feel highly honored, and sometimes I look back and I say to myself, what have I done to deserve all of this? It can only be God. So I thank the Almighty who has brought me this far and who is giving me all these opportunities and even this open door in this role as first female to be a chancellor in a public university as the state of OSUN in the whole of Africa. So I am delighted to be here. I thank all the speakers who have spoken passionately from deep down from within. Yes, it has recently been said that the men were overpowered and overwhelmed by the number of women that spoke. I think that should be the case, considering the fact that, that this is the crust of the topic of the day and what Amina has charged us with for today's lecture. So it's not surprising. And every speaker spoke from so many different angles, all of which are pointing to one thing, and one thing only, if I were to summarize, and that is that there needs to be a big change, not only in our country, not only in Africa, but the world over, when we talk about womanhood. I've listened to a lot that has been said, and I've watched what University of OSUN has started doing since yesterday. They've set up a 3-day program in my honor, which I believe is to be wrapped up tomorrow. Wow. They've gone all out. Football, tree planting, lecture, fashion show, they wrote a book. The list is endless. What more could anyone have asked. I say thank you. I really appreciate you. May the Lord, who is using you mightily for the University of OSUN, will reward you collectively and individually, in Jesus' name. I'd like to mention some of the observations that I've made while the speakers were speaking with passion from their hearts, or to reiterate some of those things that and that need to be drummed into the ears of all of us and into our hearts and into the ears of our leaders, the politicians, the civil societies, and all those in government, and the general populace. We have heard how we need to strengthen social cohesion and equity, how gender equality needs to be on the increase, how women need to take a central role for peace to reign, how women are born negotiators. We have heard that poverty causes disunity, how we are to prize our sons but cherish our daughters, that our girl child must be fearless and bold, how women create change, how women are known to be equitable, how we are to cooperate with one another, check each other, help each other, love one another, and how we should be determined to succeed as a people and give direction and assistance one another. How we as a nation should invest in education, in righteousness, in knowledge and information. How we should be gender sensitive and also be detribalized. Many have spoken, and amongst those who spoke last, we are to take care of the least of us so that the rest of us can be better off. How we must challenge ourselves to build a better nation. And I believe that all these calls are for each and every one of us, regardless of our age, regardless of our religion, regardless of our ethnicity, regardless of whichever part of the country that we come from, regardless of our language, we are one. Yes, it was said that there's no Yoruba passport, there's no Igbo passport, there's no Hausa passport. It's one Nigerian passport. And we all use that passport. That shows that we are still one. And we can continue to remain one. We have been reminded that the way we are behaving in our nation today, how we are disuniting ourselves, that it really needs to stop and there needs to be a refocus. All of these that have been spoken about are true. Let's not deceive ourselves. And we need to do something about it, and do something about it quickly. Nigeria must not disintegrate. We must live as one. We must love one another. We must retrace our steps. We must allow the female gender to step in. It's not only in Nigeria that 50% of the population are females. All over the world, 50% of the citizenry are females. And the male gender have left the female gender behind, not allowing them to step in, to help, to play that role that God intended us to play, to help the men. If only they would stop being too conscious of their ego and allow the women to come to step in to help, I think the world would be a better place. If you notice, wherever you place a woman, she goes that extra mile. She knows that she needs to prove a point, that whatever a man can do, she too can do. She can be of help. God has endowed the woman not only to be a homemaker, not only to be a helper to her husband, but she can be a helper within society and bring about that change that we so desperately need, especially in our country, Nigeria. We all need to have that rethink. We all need to open that door of our hearts to allow the women to come in, to make that difference, the difference that is so badly needed, that won't cost anybody extra. When we speak from the passion in our hearts, from what God has imbibed in us and put in our hearts, in our lives as women, and we are allowed to play those roles through the heart of compassion that God gave us, you'll find that we can get even lions to suck milk or to lick milk from our palms. It's food for thought, and it can be a new beginning. It can be gradual, and it can also be overnight. We have seen change being brought about by individual women who have stood up and said, no, this should not continue like this. Who have been bold, who have been brave, who have stood up in society to bring about change. I call for more change. I call for more opportunity, for more women to be able to express themselves, to be able to be helpers, to be given the recognition that they deserve. We have heard from so many women today in this lecture of some of the roles that they have played within their own sphere of influence and how they have brought about change and are continuing to bring about change. And there are so many more out there who haven't been heard of as to what they are doing because they don't have a voice, but they are doing it, and they are doing it with passion, and they are bringing about that change in villages, in cities, but within their own area. They may not be doing it from the top of the mountain, but they're doing it. So the more opportunities that we grant to womanhood, the more changes that we will see and enjoy as a nation. So, my call is that something needs to happen. Something needs to change. Oh yes, I forgot the part about we should begin to look at Alakijarism. I laughed when I heard that. But he was making a point. Forget that that name is my surname. But the point he was making is that many more women should be given the opportunity to come to the front, to come to the forefront, and be allowed to be heard, to be able to make that change that our country so badly needs. Once again, I'd like to thank all the contributors to today's lecture, all those who made it happen, all those who have put thought-provoking ideas, ideologies, and visions in our hearts, so that we can run with it, so that we can begin to develop it more and allow our girl child or girl children, as you may want to call it, to be able to say, yes, I too want to make a difference. I too have seen what those who are ahead of me have done, and I'd like to do more. I thank the Vice Chancellor, who has played a major role in all the activities that have been lined up, today being the second day of the activities. All the academic staff, all the members of the administrative staff, and the support that you enjoy from the state government and the head of services contributions, and everything that has been said on this platform. I'd like to say thank you. I feel highly honored, to say the least. I appreciate you for being on this platform and sparing your time and your talent today, and to all of the activities that have been put together in my honor to celebrate my 70th birthday. Thank you very much. On behalf of my husband and my children and members of our family and our organizations who have given us this opportunity to be of service. God bless you.
It is my pleasure to now invite the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council to address this gathering, Malam Yusuf.
At all. What about me? Don't kill me. Really? Look at what you're going Oh, are you kidding me? Okay. Oh,
Chairman, sir, we can hear you. You have the floor.
Well, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council is supposed to be the next speaker, but he's on the highway. So he has asked me to give his goodwill to appreciate everybody for being part of this unique event, and to also emphasize the fact that the unity of this country is our strength, and it has come out in every discussion today. Nobody should go away from here with the idea of a disintegrated country. We are better off as one, and God will guide us to our destiny. On that note, Pierre, can you take over?
It's my pleasure to invite the visitor ably represented by the Honorable Commissioner for Education to make his remarks.
Yeah, please, thank you. Please sit down. Now, this is the speech by the Governor of OSUN State, Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola, at the public lecture to commemorate the 70th birthday ceremony of Apostle Dr. Folorunso Alakija on Wednesday, July 14, 2021, presented by me, the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Honorable Folorunso Oladoyin-Bamishayemi, the Head of Service, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Education, our highly referred KBAC, the KBAC Aragbiji of Iragbiji Land, the Chancellor of the University, who is the celebrant of today, the Chairman Governing Council in absentia, the Vice Chancellor and the other management staffs of the university, eminent personalities that are physically present and those online, great Nigerian students. I am delighted to be here today to join OSUN State University to celebrate a distinguished Nigerian, a worthy model to our children and youths, and a global amazing whose life is predicated on and defined by excellence and service to God and humanity, Apostle Dr. Folorunso Alakija, on this momentous event of our 70th birthday ceremony. I must appreciate this citadel of excellence for putting this event together to celebrate its chancellor, a woman whose life is thoroughly sold out to God and humanity. On behalf of the government and good people of OSUN State, I celebrate a woman whose philosophy and ideals typify the Omoluabi ethos and complement the development agenda of our administration. Dr. Mrs. Folorunso Alakija is Madam Integrity, Entrepreneurship, and Due Process all rolled into one. She has made a loud statement with her life that the beauty of a person lies in their heart for humanity, and that beauty is better expressed when employed in the service of all. Dr. Alakija lives for us and for generations after us, thus helping to build a strong, cohesive, and sustainable society. She also tried to get the organization she's privileged to lead to imbibe these virtues. Dr. Mrs. Alakija is an embodiment of character, service, and leadership. These qualities, which are central to scholarship, prompted us to appoint her as Chancellor of OSUN State University. Within a few years into our first term, the management, staff, and students of UniOSUN had found her to be a worthy model and institute leader. Our first tenure as Chancellor of UniOSUN brought peace, academic stability, and infrastructural development to the citadel of learning, thus automatically qualifying her for a second tenure to sustain the culture of excellence that we desire for our university. The state-of-the-art teaching hospital complex she built for the university will forever stand as an epitaph to a large art for the citadel of learning and the people of OSUN State. It is fitting that this citadel of learning has elected to celebrate this epitome of service whose ideals match his vision on our 70th birthday. Today's lecture, appropriately themed social cohesion, equity, and sustainability, time for unity in action, is a clarion call on all of us to collectively build a society of our desire and one that our posterity would be proud of. The theme is apt and timely at these testy times, and that the foundation of our nation and humanity is being sorely challenged. The challenges of today were created by the failings of yesteryears. The message of this lecture, which rhymes with the lifestyle of the birthday girl, is that the solution to these challenges lie with us. We must therefore resolve as a people to unite and cooperate to build a just, fair, and equitable society anchored on autopilot. The strength and beauty of our nation lie in its diversity and people. We must employ the best in us as individuals and as a people to build a society that will amplify our shared values and deliver a strong, equitable, cohesive, and prosperous nation that we crave. This is the vision of our administration and the objective of our development agenda, which is hinged on adequate, quality, and equitable service delivery. We have created awareness of social cohesion and equity in our people in practical and demonstrable terms through inclusive governance and strategic service delivery. To ensure the sustainability of these virtues, we have crafted our education curriculum to build an army of children and youth who are tutored to hinge their life on the Omoluabi ethos of love, unity, progress, diligence, entrepreneurship, good neighborliness, equity, and justice. The life of Dr. Alakija is proof to all of us that we can make a difference with our individual lives and in our small spaces while teaching our children to pick the lessons of service along the way. The ultimate purpose of this lecture is to prompt us all to resolve to live together in peace and harmony and to demonstrate values that will deliver the good life to us and generations after us. I urge all of us to live this resolve and implement the outcome of this lecture for our common good. I thank you all for finding time to attend this lecture, which is service in collective interest. I wish you a stimulating and rewarding session in the course of this lecture, and a big happy birthday to our amazing Apostle Dr. Folorunso Alakija. Thank you all, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. It's my pleasure to beckon on our registrar to come and give the vote of thanks.
I first of all want to thank Almighty God for giving us Mama, Dr. Apostle Alakija. He has given the world Mama Alakija because Mama is serving the world, not only this university, but the world over. The God has also made it possible today to record success in what we have planned and we are executing today. So glory be to the God Almighty. I also want to appreciate our governor, our amiable governor, and the visitor to the university, Mr. Adegboyega Oyetola, who has made it possible for us to enjoy continuity in renew the position of a chancellor of Mama Apostle Dr. Alakija. Governor is also willing to continue, and I pray that his prayer will be answered. The governor has not disturbed us. He has given us the necessary freedom for us to appreciate. So we have to appreciate the governor specially. Then again, to our chancellor, Apostle Dr. Alakija. She has made life livable for staff, students of Osun University, for the visitors who have been coming and the visitors who will come. In the sense that at least she has given us special donation of 250 million naira to construct road leading to the main campus. Because that road, for those people who know the issue of the road, it was impassable, if not because of Dr. Apostle Alakija. That's not alone. She has given us teaching hospital, which is ongoing project, which cost by then over 34 billion naira. With the dollars, with the value now, we don't know what it will cost. If not for COVID-19, it will have been commissioned before the exit of the current Vice Chancellor. I want to say we are very grateful, and I want to say happy birthday to you, Ma. Thank you, Ma. Then to our Pro-Chancellor. Pro-Chancellor has been a team leader, the great man of international repute, and a unique Pro-Chancellor indeed, because is the only Pro-Chancellor I've known in Nigerian university who is so unique in all ramifications. He has done it well, and he's still doing it because he's a Pro-Chancellor who will never take anything from the university but to contribute everything to the university. We are very grateful, Ma. We are very grateful, sir, the Pro-Chancellor. Then to our team leader, that's the Vice Chancellor. I want to say the Vice Chancellor is special indeed, Because by the time we are discussing the discussants, he said discussants will join us, when we have not even had the feedback that they will join us. So it's not a soothsayer, but a visionary leader. I want to say thank you, our Pro-Chancellor, for being the group leader. Then to the lecturer and the keynote speaker, Mrs. Aminat J. Muhammad, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. Well, she's a unique man, unique woman, in the sense that she has brought special innovation to the United Nations. And to Nigeria in particular, we still continue to enjoy the largesse of the woman. So we are very grateful. She has been listed as the most influential 100 women in the whole world. That is unique for a woman of our own caliber. We thank you, ma'am. To all our discussants, they have performed wonderfully, in the sense that without them, today may not be unique. We're especially grateful to Professor Olubukola Oyaoye, Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, Dr. Festus Olowogboyega Oyebade of Alakijaism, to Pastor Itua Igudalo, who is also part of the Alakija family with inclination. We are very grateful to Dr. Mrs. Dere Awoshika and Dr. Shiju Iluyomade. They have made the day for us. We are really very grateful indeed. To all our council members, uniquely they travel because of this program from their base down here. Professor Akimboye, we are very grateful. Professor Abeke Amotoso, we are very grateful. To our Honorable Jami Olawumi, Special Advisor on Education, we are grateful. To our rural father, that's the Aragbiji of Aragbiji land, Oba Abdurrashid Olabumi Odunodi IV. Baba spoke in Yoruba because that is cultural. So, and I know that Baba is qualified to be a professor if he has taken to teaching. We are very grateful, Baba. Then to all principal officers, Senate members, staff and students of Osun State University, great Union Osun students, we are really grateful for making this occasion. Then to the pressmen and all others who have witnessed this occasion, we say we are grateful to you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Registrar. Just some few announcements. The program continues, especially tomorrow when the governor. Yes, the program continues today. And then for tomorrow, the governor will be here, and we want everybody to be ready to be here on time. For tomorrow, there's going to be a book presentation, but for today, we still have a praise and worship, cultural exhibition. I think those are the two major items that we have remaining. And item 7. So that will be the third one. But tomorrow, we are going to have the book presentation, the documentary, as well as the planting of trees and the fashion design competition. And we expect that everybody will be seated on time. Because of the policy implications of some of the salient issues that have been discussed today, there will be a communique, and the text of what we have discussed will also be on YouTube and other social media. So I think we can have the national anthem now, and then we can rest before.
University, you.